It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
This boy is a teenager still. He haven't grown into his grown man weight yet. But we're going to compare unproven rookie to a two-time NBA champion before he does anything. We're going to compare him to Drew Holiday, somebody who's a two-time NBA champion. This don't make no sense. And we got all these guys can't even articulate themselves. Man, you just hate nepotism. No, actually, bro, I did this for a living. And I've watched men who had to go through the second round struggle, and I can't respect it because of that fact. I can't respect the fact that this kid don't have no pressures of being waived. He don't have no pressures of having to find a place to stay, none of this stuff. And all he has to do is go out there and play, and they still are making excuses for him. There's no excuse for Bronny not to go out there and at least be assertive. He doesn't even play with reckless abandonment. He doesn't even try on the offensive end. He's looking to give everybody else the ball. This is about competition. The best man wins, not who got the best father.
That's Kwame Brown there, NBA legend, ripping Bronny James. Everybody's got a podcast now, PK. Everybody's got a social media account. I got to admit, didn't think I'd be hearing from Kwame Brown this morning on who's good and who's not and why in the NBA.
Oh, he's been doing this for a good while. He's entertaining in his own way.
Bronny James did not have the worst night in Summer League history. Alex Sarr, 0 for 15. The Wizards rookie, 0 points. Nothing going on there.
So because he was drafted way high, we're expecting him to come in and just go crazy. But like Cody Williams, who's drafted 10th, we got to give him time.
Yeah, but 0 for 15. I mean, 3 for 15, you're right. But 0 for 15 catches your eye.
What better time to do it when it doesn't count?
Well, that's a silver lining right there.
Yeah. He's 19 years old.
Yep.
I thought big men take longer to develop.
Played in Perth, Australia.
He's probably played in plenty places.
Dallas Mavericks announced star guard Kyrie Irving underwent surgery to repair a broken left hand. He suffered the injury while training earlier this month. He hopes to be ready for training camp.
So do I.
Patrick Beverley, done with the NBA, signing in Israel. He's 36 years old. He knows about overseas hoops because he played in Greece and Russia before he did his 12 years in the NBA. Banned NBA player Jonte Porter has requested him to play professionally in Greece and was denied by a federal judge Tuesday, 1 week after the former Raptor star pled guilty to conspiracy related to charges to a betting scandal. No hoops for you. And the Jazz, they get their hoops. They play the Toronto Raptors this afternoon, 3 o'clock, ESPN2. Are we at the point in Summer League where you've seen about as much as you can see and can learn from these 5 games in? You still think new things will be revealed?
I don't know about new things. These are kids that I've watched a bunch already. Speaking of the 3 draft choices, it's just a matter of how much you can hone it and be who you are or who we want you to be. And that's a long process. It's not going to be solved today. It's not going to be solved in October, November. It's going to be solved one way or the other, at least at the end of next season. Not this coming season, but the following season, and maybe even into their 3rd seasons if you're looking at it from that way. So you just want to see them continue to do what they're capable of doing for the reasons of why they were drafted. I think we know why all 3 were drafted. At least I do, having watched them play in the college game several times over.
3 o'clock, ESPN2. You can watch the Jazz and the Raptors. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
I know I'm on the bottom side of this thing and not on the top side of it, so it's coming. But I don't know when it is, and this is a great place to coach, and I've got good players, and so I'll be 71 at the end of this contract, and that seems like really old, really old, and so we'll see where it all goes.
Andy Reid talking about retirement.
Really old?
71, they're really old.
Yeah, come on, man. I got somebody who thinks he's all that, and he's in his 80s.
But he got a laugh with it because he's Andy Reid and he knows how to get a laugh at a press
Because
conference.
he's won.
There it is. Like you said, he's got really good players. And one of them is Patrick Mahomes, the most important one probably. Said that the Chiefs achieved their goals with a second straight Super Bowl title, but their inconsistent offense left them with a weird feeling. Chiefs opened training camp today. Mahomes said the focus is on improvement as they pursue a three-peat this season. Quote, you got to come in with that same mentality you had the year before, even with a higher intensity, and even though we won the Super Bowl, we felt like we didn't play our best football, especially offensively. So it's our goal to be better that way, coming in with that mentality every single day. That wasn't our best, but it was good enough to win it all. Brandon Ayuk has officially requested a trade after months of failed contract negotiations, but reports say the 49ers have no plans to move Ayuk currently. Maybe later, not now. Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams' agent shut down trade rumors about Adams, saying this is baseless, unfounded speculation, and Davante is expected to be with the Raiders. There's been absolutely no trade talk, period. Aaron Rodgers, however, has fanned the flames by saying he wanted to play with Adams again. Is this any different than LeBron helping wedge AD out of New Orleans?
No, it's the exact same thing.
There it is. Tamper away. I want a teammate. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
This year we took Nike, who I've had the great pleasure of meeting Phil Knight and his wonderful wife Penny, and I wish I could get some of that NIL money that he's sharing with Dan Lanning, but that's another note.
Kirby Smart having a little fun at the SEC Media Days on Oregon's NIL. Team Nike. Everybody likes to poke fun at Team Nike.
Well, it's been this way for 15, 20 years. I mean, it's not news.
Blake Anderson and Tom Mars sent a 70-page response to Utah state officials as he defends his position as head coach. Scotty G told us Tuesday was the day, and they haven't fired him yet. So we'll see where this goes.
I think it'll go to the courts or some type of settlement, I guess.
Clemson Tigers coach Dabo Swinney said he's wary of potential unintended consequences he foresees as a result of the increased emphasis on the new 12-team playoff, which he expects to expand again. You'll probably see some guys, if you're 4-4 out of the playoffs, will probably head off to Arizona and train for the NFL. You'll see some situations like the NFL where if the Ravens are in the playoffs and have it locked up with one more game that really means nothing, do you play Lamar in that game? Unintended consequences as college football becomes more like the pros. I'm 4-4. I'm an NFL wide receiver. I don't want to run over the middle and get hit. Head off to train. I would think it seems right now, just up the top of my head, that seems more likely than not. Dabo's probably onto something there. With revenue sharing in college athletics set to begin next year, an official for the U.S. Department of Education, the federal enforcer of gender equity in sports, said Title IX rules will apply to future revenue dollars as schools share with college athletes, but the department declined to offer guidance on how schools should distribute the money between men and women to comply with the broad language of the law. We're going to do it, but we're not going to tell you how. So for football players who have to decide whether to opt in or not, they don't know how much money they'd be opting into, but they got a deadline coming up. And guess, go.
What are they opting into?
The settlement that just came down from the courts that's going to demand that they get paid. But they might lose their ability to get NIL from a collective in the process. So are they opting into a pay cut? DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Houck's next pitch on the way. Ohtani drives this one to right. Soto doesn't move. He looks over his shoulder, and 12 rows deep it lands. A 3-run home run for the superstar Shohei Ohtani. Take the extra base if he puts it in play, and this one may be out of play. He smacks one to right, and it is way out of here. Jaron Duran about 25 rows up, and now the American League is on top, 5-3.
And the American League wins the Major League Baseball All-Star Game 5-3 over the National League. They accommodated you, PK. You had a conflict last night. I thought that the big third inning where 6 of the game's 8 runs were scored, that was early enough for you, right?
I saw every run.
Nice. Good thing Ohtani switched from the American League to the National League. He drove in all 3 for the NL.
Do you have money on it?
He hits the homer to get it started. No, I did not have money on the All-Star game. He hits the homer to get it started, but that ended it for the National League. They didn't score again, and they end up losing 5-3.
Yeah, like they said, John Smoltz at the beginning, the American League has been dominating, it says, and they have put up a little graphic. And the reason why they've been dominating is pitching. Yeah. Duh.
That's how you get to dominate in baseball.
Yes.
Ingrid Andress, who was panned for her rendition of the national anthem at Home Run Derby, apologized for the performance, says she was drunk and entering rehab. Quote, I'm checking myself into a facility today to get the help I need. That was not me last night. I apologized. MLB, all the fans in this country I love so much, for that rendition. Major League Baseball said they had no comment.
Well, bad but good.
Good that she's going to get help.
Yep.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
RSL in Los Angeles to take on LAFC tonight in a battle of the 2 of the top 3 teams in the West. The Galaxy, LAFC, RSL all on 43 points. All 3 of them coming off a shutout loss on the weekend. First kick tonight set for 8:55, Apple TV and FS1.
8:55?
8:55.
What the crap?
I agree.
Is that what they were all complaining about and why they all got fined and penalized and everything?
No, that was over. Both teams, both Portland and RSL, got fined for the mass confrontation for going. They were screaming at the referee in the first half. And you get 5 or 6 guys, you surround them, you try to intimidate them, you get fined for that.
Mass confrontation. Well,
That's
yeah,
what they
but
call
the
it,
other
yeah.
dude got suspended. It seems to be that he must have done something worse because how many folks from Portland got suspended?
Well,
Christian
much less
Arango.
4 matches as well, you're right.
I mean, what the heck?
I don't think whatever he violated in the harassment policy, I don't think it was to do with that particular incident in the 22nd minute. Because his behavior in that was like everybody else's.
Well, then what was it?
I do not officially know, but I've heard speculation from people who don't know. And the thing they're pointing out
you
is
heard speculation from people who don't know?
So you heard speculation from people speculating?
Yes, exactly. That was phrased spectacularly. I'll take a credit for that. Thank you. Or blame.
Did
or
you
all
mean
of the
that?
above. No, what I meant was somebody who normally I could get stuff out of said, literally when I called them, they answered the phone. I don't know. And then they went into the speculation from this person was, normally I know this stuff, and that suggests that this is really bad. That this is really bad. And, this is an organization that's had a history of bad stuff. They've lost an owner over bad stuff. They fired a coach over bad stuff all in the last few years. And there was one statement from the club that was pretty generic, but it said that basically they accept this because if they contest it, it drags it out and makes it a bigger deal.
Sure.
And they think it's bad, and they're just like, man, get it over with. Let's get on.
So was it on the field or off the field?
Right now, I don't know that, but if I had to guess, I would guess it was off. I would guess it was off. Maybe it was something that was said, and in the flow of a game, you don't see it, but that's a lot for something that was said. The guys in the league just don't usually get suspended for 4 games. They get suspended for 1, and they get suspended for 2. Anything over 2, Yak, you read all the stuff. Back me up if I'm blanking on somebody here, and I should be remembering. I just don't remember 4-game suspensions. The emails come out, and there's 1 or
He
there's 2.
reads all the stuff?
Yak does. Yak reads a lot, yeah.
You'd have to have done something pretty egregious.
Yeah.
Egregious?
In terms of on-field.
The one thing about the 4-game is that it was probably a 3, and they thought it was a really bad look to have him in the All-Star game, probably captaining the team in the middle of a 3-game suspension.
Correct. Hey, this guy's been suspended by his club team, but he's going to be playing here in this All-Star.
Well, suspended by the league, not the team.
Yeah,
right?
it's a league suspension, correct.
So, still tightly held. But as you said yesterday, stuff gets out, and eventually stuff does. The other thing I heard speculated was it may impact other people, and that's the reason that they're holding it close. Because I was bringing up the Bruce Arena thing never came out, and I was told that impacts somebody else, and that's why they held it so closely. That whoever was victimized, for lack of a better word, would have been victimized again if it came out. And they didn't need to be dragged through whatever it was again. That is what is trending. Brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. All right, when we come back, the question of the day, Brian Taylor's coming up on the Open Championship at 8:30. And Matt Marshall, college football writer for the Orlando Sentinel. What's Florida State doing? And is it going to end up with them in the Big 12 playing BYU and Utah? We'll talk with him at 9 o'clock. It's also a Win Tickets Wednesday. Later on, we'll be giving concert tickets away in the 8 o'clock hour. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
The rivalry's back.
Yeah, man.
You know, and a lot of people have their opinions on that, for and against, listening right now. But it's inevitable. That game on November 9th is going to be bigger than it's ever been. No matter what BYU's situation is, no matter what Utah's situation is, because they're going to be playing in the Big 12, in a Power 4 conference, on a national stage. This rivalry's never had this kind of attention before. And I'm hoping, and I feel pretty confident that game's going to have a lot of meaning, one way or the other.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hot Takes for Toes brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen with 30 years of serving Utah. Question of the morning. Shams says if the Jazz trade Lauri to the Warriors, they want Brandon Podziemski and 3 first-round picks, 3 or 4 unprotected pick swaps, and another 3 or 4 second-round picks. So, Jazz fans, tell us, how about it? What do you think? Would you do it? Are you in? Good idea or no? Aaron, do people watch the NBA anymore? I think WWE is more entertaining and less predictable than the NBA.
I don't watch WWE, so I cannot comment on that.
I do, but it's not.
The billions they're getting from multiple TV networks and streaming services suggest, yes, Aaron, people do watch. Craig says the Warriors need to throw in Draymond, too.
Nah.
Jazz are going young. Don't need 30-somethings. Going young.
You know, if they like Brandon Podziemski so much, they had 2 chances to draft him. He didn't go until he was 19 on the board. And obviously they had 2 picks before that. So did they miss on that one? Or is that the best player that they think they can get, and he's still young? And the others that would come over would be young too, and obviously Draymond Green would not be part of the equation.
Well, I think if you ask that question, you're going to get the answer number 2 that you proposed. But the first one, possibly in retrospect, they're thinking, like those other 2 guys, but like this guy even more.
Or do they just want to add a young player and
he's the best
for
him,
and he has made himself a commodity in the NBA, drafted to 19th, and
he's shown a little something.
We
and they
still like our guys.
Yeah, and we want him too.
Yeah.
There were more than 2 good players on the board when we picked, and since we're doing with a deal with you, we'll take that good player you picked.
But I just don't know that he's anything more than a role player.
Maybe not. But are they going to flip 2 role players for a good player? Or, I don't know.
No.
They got to take somebody back, and he's the best.
I mean, well,
you need role players.
No, they've got them.
They've got role players.
Yeah, they got a lot of them.
Well, you need a lot of role players, so that's good. Have the role players in place when you make the big game hunt and trade.
They've
and
solved
you get your
that.
Star.
Yeah, I just don't know that role players are going to be getting you big game hunter. I think that they have the better chance for that with draft picks.
Well, that would be why they asked for 3 first-round picks, 3 or 4 unprotected pick swaps, and another 3 or 4 second-round picks.
Yeah, and the pick swaps wouldn't necessarily be your actual pick. It could be picks that you've acquired.
Right.
Because we know they've acquired a bunch of picks.
Minnesota or Cleveland stays good and is drafting 22 or 28 or 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you're at 11 and we got this pick at 30. Let's swap.
Right. So you could still have your pick wherever that might be.
And the unprotected pick swaps, just in case you're drafting 1, 2, 3, or 4. Let's go.
That would be from the Golden State perspective. Do you see that?
Well, how far out do you go, and how good are they after Steph Curry's done? I mean, that's what they're betting on, right? That's what you're always betting on, is out in the future, is this club, Minnesota, Cleveland, the Knicks when they were talking to them, the Warriors when they're talking to them now, how long before they have to have a complete reset the way San Antonio did?
I mean, for all of his greatness, Steph Curry's not going to carry you individually to anything.
Right. And so now you can get something in the teens. But when he's gone, can you get 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Yeah, I sort of think he's gone already.
Well, except they're not drafting 1, 2, 3, or 4. They won 46 games.
Right. Because they had other guys. Now Thompson is gone. I just don't know that Steph Curry is the difference between drafting in the teens and drafting 1, 2, or 3. And they already got guys.
Well, we'll see how far they fall. I mean,
and then you would be giving them Markkanen.
Yes.
So I think you forgot that equation.
That part of the equation.
Yeah.
He'll still be there and good in 5 years, but will he be good in 6 or 7? Or will he have a year where he gets hurt and he doesn't play and you've got the pick that year?
You have no idea on that.
You're right, and that's why they're asking for all these picks. So whatever year something happens, hopefully they got a pick in that year.
And whatever year that something doesn't happen, maybe they got the pick in that year. I mean, I could just flip that just as easily. Once you,
you're right.
Once you put in the word hopefully, all bets are off.
Right, but isn't that what all these trades are?
No, not at all. I don't think so.
The most of what they got in the Cleveland and Minnesota deals, and most of what they get in this will be multiple future draft picks.
Right.
And I think they're hoping
they're not going to be multiple past draft picks.
They're hoping that, we call those veterans. And that would be the big game hunting. And they're obviously not getting a 27-year-old star from the Warriors because the Warriors don't have a 27-year-old star. But if you're getting picks out 5-6 years into the future, you're hoping at some point you hit. They have a horrific year.
Yeah, I don't think you're hoping for anything.
Well, you want to hit if you're getting picked 14 from them. You want to get a good player at 14, and we've gone through the Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers that have been drafted in that range.
No, I don't. That's only part of it. You're acting like that was the exclusive reason to make these moves. They wanted the financial freedom to get out from under the contracts, too. And they also want the ability to trade these picks if deals materialize. So it's not just a one thing. Well, we got these picks. Now we got to hope that the other team sucks. Then we got to hope that there's a player available. Then we got to hope that we win the lottery or we get the right spot to draft. Once you get into 4 or 5 hopes, forget it. You ain't winning. That's not going to work. You're not going to have all these hopefullys come to pass. It doesn't work that way.
I agree with that. But if you have 1 or 2 of them come to pass and you get the players who carry for you a decade, and we've seen 2 players right here in Utah carry them for more than a decade.
And they didn't need to be hopefully on this and that. They did it, and they were available in a way there was no hopefully involved. Those players were available when they picked them, and they took them. I mean, that's the way. Once you start going down the road of hopefully, you might as well ask me to be the GM then. I mean, I can come up with, I can make these picks, and then hopefully everything turns out. Because if they hopefully turn out, then it seems like you didn't do anything. You just hopefully, and it just broke your way, and away it went. That's not, you were born into money. Hopefully, you'll be born into money. And then you don't have to worry about it. Bronny James, who gives a crap? The kid is set for the rest of his life, and his grandkids are set for the rest of his life. Hopefully, he won the lottery, and he not got anywhere near the lottery. You can't have too many hopefullys because then that just takes the ability to work to produce success out of it. It's just dumb freaking luck once you go hopefully. I'm not a hopefully guy at all.
It's both. You've got to be lucky and you've got to be good. And San Antonio, with their run with Duncan, they did hope they'd get the number 1 pick, and it did break their way, and they got him. And Boston hoped they'd get it, and they didn't. So Ainge pivoted and ends up making the trades that we all know about. And the Spurs still had to be good.
Always go back in the past.
Well, I can't go into the future drafts about who's going to be number 1 in 2030.
Hopefully.
And
but that's not why they made these moves, just to bounce on hopefully. They made these moves for financial freedom to do other things. They may never even use any of these picks for all we know.
But whoever they trade those picks to is going to be thinking, hopefully we'll get a great pick.
Let them think hopefully. Fine. Who gives a crap what they think? You're right. Hopefully they're thinking that too. But who cares what they're thinking? I want good players, and you got to roll up your sleeves and get to work. It's not going to be freaking hopefully that you're going to get good players, because if that's the case, anybody can do their jobs. Ainge is no different than the man on the street who follows the NBA, if you believe in the word hopefully. I don't believe in that. That's not what they didn't make these moves. Well, hopefully in 2030, some kid who's in the 4th grade right now will be all that somewhere on this planet. No, that's not what they're doing. They're trying to figure out best ways to go about building a winner. And these picks, we have no idea if they're going to use them.
As a smart man once told me, hope is not a strategy.
No, hell no. As a smart man told him, if it was a dumb man, I'd be on board. But it wasn't. It was somebody who scored well and very high on the SATs, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
but when you're getting a C+, a guy with a B- is a smart man.
Let me text him and find out.
Text him.
What did he say?
Hope is not a strategy.
Yeah. I heard a smart woman say, hope is nothing but delayed disappointment.
Who was that smart woman? Yock's not giving up his sources.
I don't give up my sources.
In this case, you might.
My source comes from a certain guy named Nate Hatch, but that's...
Yeah. I figured it was Pops.
So then Nate would just say that they're playing the odds.
Yes.
They'll get 10 chances, and they know some will fail and some will succeed.
Again, you don't even know how many chances they're going to get. You're assuming that these picks, that's why I don't think they just made these trades for picks. They made it for everything that's available.
Yeah, you're assuming they're going to use all 10 of them? That does not equate.
That's what I don't understand, that logic.
I think it's why they like the unprotected pick swaps, because eventually, as you keep accumulating picks, you can't use them because it looks like this year they're going to have the 6 2-year guys, either rookie or second-year guys on the roster. But obviously, after 5 years, you're not going to have accumulated 15. You're either going to move the picks or you're going to move the players after you've seen them for 2 or 3 years, and the rest of the league's seen them for 2 or 3 years.
Well, hopefully, you don't need the picks. I mean, once you introduce hopefully, there's a never-ending possibilities. Hopefully, they don't need the picks. Hopefully, pick your player or players that are really good. Hopefully, Taylor Hendricks and Cody Williams have the most athletic impact on a game since Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown at those positions. Hopefully. Right? So who knows if they even want those picks? Maybe they trade in those picks so they don't get burdened with, because when you have a first-round pick, unless you renounce it, then you got to pay the guy. For, 4 years? Depending on if you want to pick him up and offer him, blah,
right,
blah, blah,
and they
all
extend and blah, blah, blah. Pick up, there's another year to pick up and another year to pick up.
Right.
And you can trade them along the way so somebody else ends up paying that rookie deal.
Yeah. I just think they made all these moves for all possibilities, not just draft picks. I realize that's the eye-catching thing, but it's going to be more than that. I mean, the Warriors are not going to be this fall off the face of the earth team if you give them marketing.
Possibly.
Hopefully.
Hopefully they will be.
I don't think you can count on it, though.
You can't. I don't think you can count on any of this, and I think we're going to see that play out. But if you have enough picks, hopefully, Somebody's going to fall at some point, and you're going to end up with a great pick. But to your point, there's no telling. They could get the third pick and pick Cantor, and it doesn't work out.
You can
and
get
then they hit
great
later
numerical pick.
Right. And then later on, you hit on Mitchell later in the or Gobert because you have so many. And once you
I don't think it's no. I think you're not playing the odds with picks. I don't buy that at all. If you suck at drafting, I can give you 50 picks. The Clippers had lottery picks year after year. If you want to go back into history and use that as your biblical model, then I lived it. I was there.
But neither one of us think that Ainge is the Clipper manager.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter. That's where it does
How the
matter.
hell do I know that Ainge is going to be the GM or the CEO in 2028? When he's 68, 69, 70 years old. Andy Reid just told me 71. That's really old. So how do I know? I just read a thing with Devin Durant in the D News that he wrote that Ainge almost died when he had a heart attack. So, I mean, how do I know? Maybe Lawrence Frank, who's running the Clippers now, is going to be the Jazz thing. Once you go down the road and start opening up these things that you have no idea, it never ends.
Well, we're talking about the future, and nobody knows the future for sure. So I'm going to have to throw something out there, and you're right. It couldn't happen. It may not happen. But otherwise, just don't talk about the future. But if I talk about the past, don't tell me about the past.
Well, I just told you about the past. And
I don't yell at you.
Debunked me. I yell because I'm passionate and I talk loud. Come on. What do you want me to do? I didn't grow up with your mother. Now, David, don't yell. If I wanted to be heard, I had to yell twice as much as my mother, who screamed at the top of her lungs all times. Blame her. Blame Carmela, probably her mother. She yelled in Italian. I didn't understand what she was saying, but I knew she was pissed.
A little surprised you didn't learn some of the magic words in Italian.
I did.
Oh, you just got a handful of them.
Well,
I got that magic word.
Well, you can tell what somebody's thinking, basically, as they speak. It's just a cultural thing. They yell, they carry on, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we used to joke when we would go down to my grandparents' house, which was at least once or twice a week. You could hear them a mile away. I mean, you're coming around the corner.
We're almost there. I can hear them.
Yeah, it's just the way it was, man. I think all these things are on the table. I just don't know you can go in with the attitude of hopefully the Warriors are going to suck. Because who's to say that they don't hit on whatever pick they get down the road? Look at what they've done a phenomenal job of staying competitive through age and significant injury and knucklehead, numbskull punching out players, teammates, getting suspended and having all the attention on him for doing nonsense, and they're still minimally sort of in no man's land. Not bad enough to be way high, but not good enough to be...
46 wins is not a terrible season.
Right.
They missed the playoffs because the West is stacked, but 46 is not horrible.
That's what I foresee for them, unless hopefully they get injured. But you're going to give them your best player and expect them to suck? It doesn't really make sense to me.
Not right away, but we'll see down the line. And will they hit it every year? And if you don't get pick 1, 2, 3 out, 4 out of them, I mean, you make the deal and make it unprotected, so if it breaks your way, you can capitalize on it. But if it doesn't break your way, then be smart with the 10th or 15th or 20th pick, whatever it turns out to be.
From Golden State.
From Golden State, if that's what you end up with.
See, what I think, and I get your point there, and I agree with that, is if you give them Markkanen, then you suck next year.
Well, there's that factor, absolutely.
Yeah, you're in it.
Then Colin Sexton is now your veteran and your leader. Assuming if they're moving Markkanen that they end up moving Clarkson and Collins too.
Which they should.
I know.
And if that point, if they have to take 50 cents out on the dollar, do it. I don't understand this. Ainge is a genius, and he's not going to get ripped off. Okay, so you're not going to get ripped off, so you're going to be in no man's land yourself because you don't want to get ripped off? It seems to me you're spiting yourself. And meanwhile, San Antonio's getting over there. They're trading DeJounte Murray. I don't even know what they got, but they got the number 1 pick.
Right.
And next year is supposed to be all that. They're supposed to be up to 4 or 5 players who can make a significant difference. Yeah, now's the time to suck. So that's why I would be more interested in making that deal as opposed to worrying about who's going to be available in 2030. I don't even know if Ainge is going to be running the team then.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
I mean, come on.
Coming up next, why is PK in such a fabulous mood? Stay with us.
This is fabulous mood?
It really is. It's kind of shocking. It's kind of shocking.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
I think Jazz should hire me, just to warn you of the curse of wearing number 22. You should never do it. No one's ever been good at the Utah Jazz wearing number 22. Morris Allman, Curtis Borchardt, John Drew got banned from the league.
Wow.
He joined the Jazz wearing number 20, switched to 22, and within 12 months was banned from the league for drug use. It's a cursed number. Jeff Green, Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay's the worst player the Jazz have ever signed. He wore 22. Kyle Filipowski. If you don't hit 14 threes in the summer league, you got to change it to like 31 or something and channel Reggie Miller. But you got to get off 22. Hey, that's my number. When I go to Utah Jazz media camp, I wear 22 and I'm the worst player there. So like, I promise you, I know what it feels like to wear number 22. I know what it feels like to wear number 22 for the Utah Jazz, and it stinks. So when I saw that, I thought, oh man, it's over before it started for Flip.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Shake it for me, DJ.
The band of the day today is Luke Bryan. Luke Bryan, 48 years old, celebrating his birthday today. It's brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts events of 2024, check out livenation.com. You're wearing the hat this morning.
It's my cowboy hat. Yeah. I got some skull.
You're really not skull guy. You can pretend to be a
You see my Levi's got the circle on the back?
You can buy that.
On the butt cheek?
you can pay for that.
I want to see those. I want to see those Wranglers just to confirm that.
I tried that stuff once, and like, oh, this is gross. And literally one time.
16?
Yeah.
15, 17.
I would say
yeah.
16.
I figured it had something to do with a high school baseball dugout. Yeah,
it did. It was in the summer, and I tried it, and I was DHing that game, and we're playing at Phoenix College. It was a junior college right there in the heart of Phoenix. And all of a sudden, the world started spinning, and I didn't want to tell anybody. I went behind the stands and laid down.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that was literally the one and only time.
And we're done with that. Yep. Back to the sunflower seeds, kids.
And I never, ever did it again. I don't know why I did it at the time, but I thought, I see all the guys do it. I'll see what's the deal. So that was a good lesson. I tried it once, got it out of the way, and never again.
Ick.
Yeah.
How was the concert? Kenny Chesney, you're wearing the cowboy hat because you were at the concert last night.
In honor of Ken.
Yeah.
And I can call him Ken. Yeah, it was awesome, man.
How good were your seats? How close were you?
We didn't do the sandbar, which is where you could stand right there, next to the stage. But we did because you want seats to sit, which is actually stupid anyway because you end up standing.
To see the people who are standing in the sandbar?
Well, it just invites standing.
Right.
But it was great. And a lot of times you need the people around you not to be knuckleheads. And Jason, the crime scene investigator in Weber County, thank you.
For not being a knucklehead.
Yes. Because I wanted to watch the All-Star game, so we got there after 8 o'clock. So I missed Uncle Cracker and Megan Maroney because I wanted to watch the All-Star game. And I watched 6 innings of it.
Nice. Yeah. I didn't know I didn't know how long you would push the envelope there.
Well, you can go online and look to see when he takes the stage.
And so was that on the money? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, he was 20 minutes early.
Oh.
Which was even better because then we got home earlier. And having to be at the soccer stadium, me, a proud resident of Sandy City, Utah, where the soccer stadium is located, was able to. My plan is we took the car down early, parked it, and then my daughter took us down and drove us right to the front gate. And then we were able to have the car already parked. And so got out of there, over there past Jordan Commons, and away you go. So that was no problem. My wife has a golf thing down in Payson. So she was up before I was, so we had to get to bed and take care of that. So, yeah. And the other guy behind me, so Jason, the crime scene investigator, says, yeah, I listen every morning except if I'm on a crime scene.
Probably ought to focus on work. Good work, Jason.
So he said he was going to a crime scene investigation today, and he'd be listening. And then the guy behind me says Kenny has a song that everything's gonna be all right. It's a very positive song, and we played it for you once.
I remember.
Yeah. And the guy, when that song was being played, he taps me on the shoulder. He says, man, I listened to you talk about that song several years back, and I had never heard it. Now it's my favorite song.
Yuck. PK doesn't have the brain for money, but you do. So let's talk about this, shall we? We've got the band of the day, but do we need like the PK song of the week? Do we need how often could he do that? It could be sponsored. This could be another element.
Let me get a note into the sales team and we'll see what.
All right, there it is. Yuck's going to work on that.
Well, I just had a meeting with them last week, and they said, anything you got for us, show-wise, let us know. So that's another one to add to our list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was funny that he remembered that, and when he said that, I remembered it. I wouldn't have thought it, and then it's funny that you remember it.
Yeah.
But Kenny plays good music, man. This guy is, he's probably 55, 56 years old, and, I'm not a big country hardcore Waylon Jennings, Conway Twitty kind of guy, but I don't view that as this. It's good music. I was talking to my sister, and I've seen the guy at least 10 times, and she said, well, why not go again? You like it. It's fun. He'll sing some tunes you like. It's right in your community. It's 3 miles away from your house. You'd be an idiot to not go. And my sisters are older than me. It's particularly one who's got a doctorate and all. She's basically everything she's told me in life to do, I've done blindly.
And how's that stuff worked out for you?
About 95% success rate. Yeah. Because she's really smart, and she's always had my best interest at heart, and she's guided me. She was like a mother to me because of the age difference. Little brother, you got to take care of them. So it was a beautiful night. It was a fun night. It looked like everybody was there, had a great time. And it was packed, just packed. And the Salt Lake area in the summer, it was a little warm because there's so many people. But the soccer stadium is beautiful, as you know. You've been there a million times. And it's fun. And it's a simple pleasure that makes life good. And I know that's strange hearing it coming from me, who tends to be a half-empty dude.
Yeah, but maybe it means more because of that.
And maybe it does. Yeah, maybe it does.
As opposed to somebody who's out there spraying sunshine all the time.
And you can forget about crap and just enjoy it. Look like I didn't see any incidences. I don't know, maybe there were, of nonsense that goes on in the crowd. I'm unaware of it. Not where I was. So we were in that area. So the sandbar, and then they start the seats. You're on the field, so you have field access, and that we're about 3 rows away. And another thing is they don't pay for the sandbar and have to stand, and the ticket's right behind it. You're going to be standing anyway, and it could be a little cheaper. So it was a fun time. And if he comes to the soccer stadium again, I'll be there again, God willing, hopefully.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Coming up next, question of the day, part 2. That Major League Baseball All-Star game, PK, what if it's in your backyard?
This is real.
How cool will that be?
This is not fantasy. This is real.
Oh, I think I can put a number on it.
Oh, cool.
We will get to that next. DJ and PK, the big show coming to our backyard. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.